The Pathway for the Development of Samoa is our nation's key national planning document, outlining our country's development programs for the period 2021 to 2026. Striving to meet the PDS theme of empowering communities, building resilience, and inspiring growth in the midst of the measles epidemic, COVID-19, and other external shocks has not been easy. But our commitment and tenacity as a nation to achieve the 5 key strategic outcomes of the PDS is a story that needs to be told. Improving social development included the introduction of programs to alleviate hardship, such as the Shelter Financing and Hygiene Facilities Program. Implemented by ADRA, this program helped vulnerable and marginalized families meet their most basic needs. 73 families in Upolu and 47 families in Sava'i received new or improved shelters, toilets, and showers under this scheme. The Disability Benefit Scheme, established in 2021, has assisted over 2,000 people with disabilities, with each registered person receiving 100 tala every month. This social assistance is part of our government's pursuit of empowering our most vulnerable people. Our commitment to continue providing affordable access to quality education through the One Government grant has seen more than 330 schools and over 66,000 students benefiting from this scheme from 2022 to 2024. The grant supports all governments and most mission and private schools, from early childhood education to the post-secondary level, and special service providers for our vulnerable children. In 2021, in the midst of political uncertainty, the District Development Program was established. This is one of the most successful stories of the Pathway for the Development of Samoa. This concept, within a short span of time, created over 900 employment opportunities, dispersed over 99 million tala, and benefited over 130,000 individuals within the 51 districts themselves. This is more than 50% of our country's total population. Through this program, we have empowered our communities and built their capacity to manage, govern, and lead their own economic growth. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Samoa remained dominant as one of the top suppliers of labour under New Zealand's Recognised Seasonal Employer Scheme and the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme. There is a marked increase in numbers deployed under these schemes between July 2021 to June 2024. Both schemes have not only helped individual families, but have also contributed greatly to our nation's economic growth, most significant in this difficult fiscal period. Despite our economic downturn as an aftermath of the measles epidemic and COVID-19 pandemic, our government's tenacity in reducing its debts, both external and domestic, is yet another successful story of the period under review. By June 2024, our total debt was recorded at 815.5 million tala, a 134 million reduction from the 949.5 million tala debt in financial year 21-22. In percentages, this meant a reduction of total debt from 51.8% to 25.9% of GDP in just over 3 years. Our annual average real GDP growth rate grew from -7.1% in financial year 2021 to 9.4% in financial year 23-24. The top major contributors to our GDP growth were electricity and water, financial services, commerce, transport and infrastructure, accommodations and restaurants, and business services. The launch of Samoa's first national anti-corruption policy in June 2023 is one of the government's push to prevent, curb, and address corruption in all its forms. It encourages integrity, good governance, accountability, transparency, and the rule of law, amongst others. All of these to strengthen our people's trust in our service delivery and our accountability to our people. Climate change remains a development priority for our nation. Our vulnerability to climate change and its impacts is not restricted to any one village nor district. It is a threat to our livelihood, environment, and our future. Mainstreaming climate change into all our development plans to prepare and respond to such times of climate uncertainty is critical. Over the period of the review, all 14 sectors have mainstreamed climate change into their sector plans. 10 sectors have started implementing activities on climate change in their sector plans. We remain hopeful that this will trigger adequate climate financing from the international arena, financing that is required to implement actions that will mitigate and/or enable us to adapt to climate change and its impacts. Approximately 99% of our people now have access to affordable treated water. To alleviate hardship, the government reduced the cost of treated water supply to the people over the period being reviewed. Our people in the energy, water, sanitation and hygiene, and transport and infrastructure sectors remain committed to providing key essential services to save lives and maintain resilient and well-managed public goods to reduce public expenditure. Major improvements to our wharves and airports have been implemented over this review period. The importance of maintaining connectivity with the outside world cannot be understated. It is our link to trade, our economic development, livelihood, and most importantly, our families and loved ones overseas. Our road networks connect us to each other. It is a connectivity asset, an escape route in times of emergencies, but most importantly, link our people to their source of food. Access roads connect our people to their farms, some for subsistence living and some for income-generating activities. The assistance of our development partners in achieving some activities in this key outcome area has been laudable. With every success story, challenges are also to be expected. In the monitoring and evaluation of the PDS, corporate challenges include limited or no data sharing and coordination within and between sectors. Recording and documenting key indicators that achieve our national outcomes has been a challenge. Agreeing and understanding definitions of outcomes versus impacts versus outputs versus indicators has been a challenge. Capacity constraints such as the high number of staff turnover and technical capacity of our workforce has been a challenge. In delivering our promises in the PDS, key priority areas that directly affect our people, such as improving healthcare services and facilities, remains a challenge. The prevalence of non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and hypertension remains a challenge. In education, improving literacy and numeracy rates remains a challenge. The number of graduates finding jobs directly after graduating remains a challenge. In law, our ongoing fight against illegal drugs and rising crime rates remains a challenge. In our quest to monitor our performances and services, let us not only focus on our successes. Let us renew our promise to our country and our people in the remaining period of this PDS. Let us continue to empower our communities, build resilience, and inspire growth for our beloved country and our people.